Welcome to Spilling the Tea on Burnout, a podcast on how to get from recognition and prevention to creating sustained recovery from chronic overwhelm and exhaustion. We are bringing humanity back to healthcare. You are not broken. You are not meant to push through. Suffering is not a badge of honor. The system was designed to chew you up, spit you out, and move on to the next new grad. We've all seen it. We've all experienced it. This podcast dismantles the myths surrounding the causes of burnout, caregiver fatigue, and moral distress, and dives into the many layers that keep us stuck in cycles of shame, self-blame, and eating our young. We explore how systems and culture betray us, and how rediscovering your intuition, body, and building community can become a radical act of resistance and change. This podcast is hosted by Doris Taylor, a nurse who worked in corporate healthcare for 20 years before quitting and starting her own small business. She now works as a burnout recovery specialist, creating community and guiding nurses into sustained burnout recovery. In this episode, we're talking about and doing together box breathing, and today I'm drinking green tea. This is part of your Eenie, Meenie, Minie, Mo toolbox for when you feel stressed, overwhelmed, or if you feel like crying in the bedroom, which I have done plenty of times, crying in the bedroom. I didn't know any breathing exercises back then. I wish I had. I would have cried a lot less. Before we get into box breathing, here are some upcoming resources that you might be interested in. There is a Get Beyond Burnout workshop that is this coming Saturday, June 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Nurses get 1.5 CEs for this 90-minute workshop on what keeps you stuck in cycles of burnout. There is a Healing Huddle, which is a 1-hour group session on different emotional anchors like box breathing, the barriers you run into that prevents you from actually using them. And then we discuss how to get around those barriers so you remember to access these tools when you need them. And the next one is June 11th at 7 p.m. And there is a Nurse Connect meetup group that is happening at the end of the month, June 29th. It's an in-person happy hour / meetup for people in healthcare in the Seattle area. And so it's June 29th. Visit all the events are on my event page at Moonshine Wellness PNW /event. And the link will be in my show notes. So moving on to this tool that is part of your toolbox. So this is something to use, use it frequently. So then when you're under stress and you need it, you have it. So box breathing is a powerful breathing exercise frequently used for stress and anxiety. This technique involves structured breathing that anyone can practice to enhance mental clarity and emotional well-being. It is a controlled breathing practice based on pranayama, an Ayurvedic form of breathwork that originated in India. Box breathing is known for improving physiological responses, helping to calm the mind and bring focus. So this is really important in burnout because your window of tolerance is very narrow. And so doing exercises like box breathing helps you broaden or widen your window of tolerance. So then when you're under stress, like an acute stress versus the chronic stress, you're able to manage that a little bit differently. So I'm going to bring you through a step-by-step guide. This might not work for every situation. That's why I think it's important to practice these so then you can do these in multiple different situations. So the step-by-step guide is to find a quiet place, which could be a bedroom, it could be a hallway, it could be the stairwell, it could be just blocking everything out of your mind while you're trying to chart. But if you're upset, right? Sometimes that quiet space is just what you create in your mind. It's not an actual quiet space. So find a quiet space, choose a spot where you can sit or lie comfortably in a relatively quiet environment. Again, not always relevant depending on what you're doing. Close your eyes, which is not essential, but can help you focus. So if you don't close your eyes, at least soften your gaze. And this is this is based on a 4-second inhale, which I find difficult to do. So I find it easier to do a 2-second inhale. So if you practice this, it will become easier to find what works for your body. And so we're going to inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to hold for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to exhale slowly for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to hold again for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's practice this together. So inhale for 4 seconds. Hold. Out. Hold. And the idea is to build a rhythm into this. And so you're teaching your body, and you're teaching your body that you can be calm even in stressful situations. And you're creating that space in your nervous system so you can have a pause before you react, or when you're feeling overwhelmed, like you're starting to create that pause in your nervous system. And so this is why it's really beneficial to practice this during meetings or during, like, you're driving even, like, of course, don't close your eyes, but you're just like practicing the rhythm and finding what rhythm works for you, because then you can access it a lot easier when you're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted, because it becomes more of a habit for you. So practice this when you're laying down for sleep, when you're in a meeting, when you're just walking down the hallway from like patient room to patient room, right? Like you're learning to regulate your nervous system. And this is how you're building space and you're widening your window of tolerance. And this is what's going to help you continue to move out of burnout and prevent burnout from reoccurring. So the why beyond for box breathing is that it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. In times of stress, your sympathetic nervous system is on high alert. Box breathing can help you move out of that state by tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and digestion. The parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, otherwise known as your fight or flight. And when we're in burnout, a lot of times we're in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn state. And so this builds in, again, more of that pause, more of that space into your nervous system so that you are activating your sympathetic nervous system and bringing you out of that sympathetic. When we're anxious, we breathe shallowly and quickly, which actually creates more anxiety within your body. And we can use breath work to move out of the fight-flight state and into the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's where you feel centered and grounded. And so this is it's a practice. There's not like I do this once and things are great. It is a practice that you incorporate into your toolbox that you can pull out and be like, this is what I feel like I need to do, and I know how to do it. As we end today's episode of Spilling the Tea on Burnout, find one moment of happiness, joy, or peace today. This is your radical act of resistance. Thank you for joining me.